We're doing some very exciting work, most of it related to understanding abnormal rhythms of the heart. They're known as cardiac arrhythmias. Cardiac arrhythmias are one of the main mechanisms of death and sudden death, both of young children, of young adults, of infants, in which case it causes SIDS. So we would like to better understand the mechanisms that are involved in precipitating these arrhythmias, and we're looking for drugs that can be used to prevent and treat these arrhythmias. We're also very much involved in looking at the genetic basis for these arrhythmias. So 10 years ago we inaugurated a molecular genetics program, and today we're one of the leading centers in the world doing genetic studies, helping families who have sudden death syndromes, helping families who have inherited forms of cardiac arrhythmias such as atrial fibrillation. We're also interested in understanding better the arrhythmias that occur after a heart attack. So the cause of death after a heart attack is usually due to an arrhythmia known as ventricular fibrillation, where the heart looks like a bag of worms. It's activated at such a fast rate that it's not doing any work to pump the blood out to the rest of the body. And what we're finding is that there is also a genetic predisposition to development of arrhythmias after a heart attack.
The Masonic Medical Research Facility is truly state-of-the-art. Dr. Ancelovich recently won an award from the American College of Cardiology. Was the Scientist of the Year award, which is an award that is esteemed internationally. He was competing against professors from all of the Ivy League schools, as well as from areas in London, Paris, etc. His research is really fantastic in the area of electrophysiology. He's working very sophisticated in terms of gene therapy for prevention of sudden cardiac death. So really a very, very impressive array of research coming out of there. And surprising that very few people in the city of Utica, New York and the surrounding area even know about Dr. Ancelovich.
I consider them the Sherlock Holmes of medicine. They will take a problem, they will decipher the problem, break it apart, and then try to figure out a way to look into that problem even further, and then try to figure out a way to treat that problem, and then they're not happy with that. They go on further, and how can they expand that treatment to help other problems? I mean, these people are brilliant, and they're our neighbors. They're living right here in the Mohawk Valley. You know, as a cardiologist, I'm thankful, but I'm thankful not just for living in Utica. I could be a cardiologist anywhere in the world, and I would benefit from the work done over here at the Masonic Medical Research Lab. They're known throughout the world for the excellent work they do.
I have a special relationship with them because I, for many, many years now, have been giving them little pieces of heart tissue from almost every heart surgery patient that I do. So they love me and I love them for that reason and others. But it turns out that that's another one of these hidden gems that I'm talking about that we have here. That lab, as it turns out, most people don't know about it, but it's a world-leading lab in the research, basic research and applied research of heart rhythm problems. And heart rhythm problems affect millions of people, millions, not just hundreds of thousands, but millions. 25 million Americans suffer from significant heart rhythm problems.
It's really an extraordinary confluence of factors that brings us to this topic. You know, here we are developing a heart program over the last couple of decades in our area, and we happen to have, really by happenstance, a tremendously well-respected, very well-known on a worldwide basis, basic science lab headed by Dr. Charles Ancelovich right over here in East Utica at the Masonic Medical Research Lab. This is a lab that is prodigious in its production. They're well known throughout the research world for basic science, and they happen to focus their basic science on cardiology, which of course is something we have a vested interest in. Dr. Ancelovich has done an amazing job bringing that lab to the forefront of many of our most important scientific discoveries over the last decade or so. And we get the opportunity to not only interface with that type of enterprise, but also to be involved in some of the discussions and the research, etc. I'm the director of clinical research here, and although the Masonic Medical Research does basic science research, we're doing what's called clinical research, which is the application of some of those findings to patients to find out what works best with people, how do we apply it to people. So we're involved with 7 or 8 large medical studies going on a worldwide basis, And we're enrolling patients right here in central New York and getting them involved in these studies, looking for the next breakthrough. And one area that's really exciting, I know Dr. Ancelovich talks about this a lot, there's a very common arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation. It's a big nuisance arrhythmia that affects 3 or 4 million people around the country. And Dr. Ancelovich and his staff have come up with a combination of medications that are rather well known but have never been used in quite the same fashion, and they found it to be extremely effective in experimental models, and now we're applying that to people, and we're running a research program right now looking at how effective that is in people and hoping to come up with the next great medicine for atrial fibrillation. And that medicine will come from Utica, New York, which is a rather exciting and perhaps hard to believe concept for a lot of people. But we have a tremendous basic science laboratory here, well known around the world. It's a pleasure to be involved with them, and it's exciting for us, and we've taken some of that initiative and we're running some really nice, important clinical research out of our Central New York Cardiology office and the Mohawk Valley Heart Institute.
We have some very talented individuals in this area that are expert in cardiology, expert in cardiac electrophysiology, which is our area. And we are fortunate to be able to collaborate with them, particularly with the Mohawk Valley Heart Institute. And these collaborations have done much to advance both science and medicine.